Okay, hey, welcome back. So check this out. So we've been talking about my pause and why I stopped and what I did during that time. So during my pause, I went back into the vault, right? I dug into my first 10, 12 years running Conquest, which is my school. So back then we were stalling a lot, right? We had a lot of problems, a lot of different issues that were coming up. So we had a lot of stalling going on, and I really had to go back in my mind to the issues and the mindset that I had back then. So what I did was I tried to look at different things that we did step by step, kind of brick by brick, and this is kind of how I actually learned to diagnose, fix, and grow Conquest. So until I went back, I had kind of, before I went back, I kind of had forgotten what the order was, right? I forgot what the path was. So now I went back and I really started digging like 2010, 2011, when we were really having issues. And one night in particular kind of stood out. Students were on the mats. We had some local ads running. They were actually doing pretty well. Like my phone was ringing, we were getting leads, people were stopping by. But I remember kind of sitting in the office at night. It was probably like 9:30, 10 o'clock after some classes, after we cleaned the mats. But I was sitting there with a pit in my stomach, sick to my stomach, really just thinking about why are we still stuck? Like this seems like all this stuff is working. We're getting tons of action, but we're really still not making any money. So it was like trying to figure out what am I missing, right? Like what was I doing? What was working? What wasn't, right? And it wasn't effort. I worked my butt off. My partners and I, we all worked our butt off. But what it came down to, there was a lack of clarity. There was a lack of knowing what to do next. So one night in particular, a mom had walked in and said, "Hey, I've seen a bunch of your different things, your ads, your articles, different things like that about your school. So I just want to know like exactly what do I get, and how much does it cost to get my son involved." So, like to me now, looking back, like that's a very basic conversation to have with a parent about someone interested in your school. But for some reason, I mean, even now, like I hear other people doing this. I talked in circles for probably 10 or 15 minutes, trying to explain what we did, how much it cost, all of those kinds of things. But for some reason, like I never like was able to actually talk about the things that we did or the things that it would cost. I was talking about fighters. I was talking about tournaments that we had won. Basically everything that didn't really matter to this lady at all. All she wanted to know was, would I be able to help her son and how much would it cost? So when I think back, like I don't think I actually ever answered her questions, right? And I hear people doing sales presentations now, and it's the similar thing that I hear. 15 minutes after you start talking, you never actually answer the question. You're just talking about all the cool things that we know or we do or people we know or things that we've done. And so at the end of the conversation, she was still confused, and all she did was smile, took a brochure, and left, never to see her again. And truthfully, I think I was just as confused as the salesperson, because after she left, I was so shocked at kind of how bad this kind of sales presentation went. I literally just grabbed the sticky note pad, and I wrote down one sentence, and I remember this so vividly. And I said, like, if we can't say it clean, no one will buy it. And the idea was like, it was so confusing to me. It was so confusing to her. We needed to have more clarity in the things that we were offering and what it was cost. And sometimes, you can lose a student through the message, right? The message is so muddy. It's not the programs, it's not the things that you're going to show them or do. It's literally that the program or the conversation that you have is so muddy that it just doesn't allow you to start to do the things that you need to do to say to that client. Another time I remember I was in there and we had got a ton of leads, right? We had a flood of leads, and then it just died. And I remember what caused that, right? So one month the ads were doing great, leads were pouring in, people were signing up, everything was doing really, really well. We started to make some money, but as immature or not smart businessmen that we were at the time, we thought that we were going to be too overwhelmed if we kept these ads on, right? We're going to have too many students. We're not going to know what to do. We're going to be so overwhelmed that we're going to have to work too hard. Whatever it was that was going through our heads. But whatever we did, we, for some reason, turned the ads off. The next month, crickets. No leads, no new students, money dropping. And now we're panicking, right? Like, oh my gosh, why do we not have any people? Blah, blah, blah. And so we started to panic and we started to go back and try to get the ads going again. But, sometimes ads don't just fire right back up and you're right back where you left off. Sometimes you have to change things and adjust things and tweak things. And that's what happened with this. So now the ads were crushing, we turn them off. Now they're not crushing anymore when we turn them back on. So now we have a really great month, and then we end up having a really bad month, and then a really okay month, but not a great month. And so the idea is it took almost 2 months to get the sales back to where they were. And that's because we had no plan. Right? We were just fighting fires. We were putting out fires as they came. So one, we got a lot of leads. We're like, oh my gosh, there's too many leads. We got too many new things. Let's turn these ads off. That's the fire we were putting out. After that, I remember the same thing, grabbing my sticky note pad. That was how I always kind of took notes. I would take the sticky note, I'd write one thing or whatever, and I'd put it on the wall. And this time what I wrote was consistency. I wrote one word, I circled that word, and I wrote consistency. We didn't need 10 channels. We didn't need, all these different ads and all these different kind of things that we were doing at the time. We really needed to be able to turn ads on and not turn them off. We needed to consistently run ads on the same platform. So we really dialed it in and kind of learned how to do that, refined it. So one platform, consistent leads, don't turn off the growth engine. Because growth is not a lucky wave that just kind of comes in and crushes you, right? Growth is an ocean, and you're going to build that growth over time. And so by leaving those ads on, we were able to have a much more consistent flow of leads over time that we didn't have the huge months, the low months. So another thing that happened that stood out to me when I was kind of thinking back on this journey that we've had. And have you ever had the person come in and say, oh, I'll think about it. They nod, they leave, and they don't show back up. So we had that also. So by this time, I think we had already figured out what we were selling, like what the offer needed to be, kind of how the conversations needed to go and all that, and how to talk about it. And so in my mind, I'm having a great consultation. I'm talking, going through our sales program. I'm kind of talking about how we do everything, prices, and actually we didn't get into the price at that point yet, but the kid was excited. The parent was happy, but we had just raised our prices for the academy. And I wasn't sure really about the price. I wasn't super confident in it. I was like, oh man, we might be charging too much. I don't know if this is going to work. And so at the end of the close there, when I'm going to present the price, I start wobbling. I start stumbling a little bit. I had fear and anxiety and uncertainty kind of building up. And with that, I kind of lost the sale. I own it. It wasn't me. I mean, it wasn't the price that was too much. It was me. And what I understood after that was, we started to add a kind of daily 10-minute role play. One, to just be able to say the words faster and better and more clear. The other thing is, we kind of built out that simple kind of flow of need, offer, decision. And so if I could give them and show them the need and I could show them the offer that would work, I could get the decision. So after we kind of tweak some of those things, we started getting more yeses, right? And certainty was the thing that was the problem. I didn't have certainty and I didn't have confidence in the program at that price point. So at the time, once I started to build certainty and confidence in the price, it was very easy for me to be able to say that. Through that role playing, through that time, I was able to really just start to look at the price and be confident in the price. And when I was confident in the price, it allowed me to start to be able to say that very, very easily. So, really what the point of all this is, we had a lot of different kind of programs and problems and issues and paths that we needed to take, but we didn't know exactly what path we needed to take. And so part of the Academy Kings was the same thing. It was kind of cookie cutter. It was everybody's at the same place. So what this kind of reminds me is that through that kind of first decade, really like the idea was that it taught me that there is a path, right? There's no universal fix. There's no magic ad. There's no perfect, sales script. There's no easy button that you're going to be able to push as an academy owner. There's really only the idea of what is your path, what is your problem, what is your solution that you need to be focusing on to take that next step. Everybody has one major thing. Like if you can fix that one thing, it's going to open up the floodgates for you. So you need to be able to sit back and figure out what is the one thing that you need to work on in order to push that floodgate open, right? What is the thing that's holding you back? Where's your path leading you? For some, it starts with saying the offer, right? What's the actual offer that I need to have? What is the offer that I need to be able to get behind in order to have confidence in my program, right? For others, it may be choosing to run ads. Maybe you have so much organic coming in, but you're still stalled because you don't have enough of the paid ads coming in. For many, maybe it's practicing the close or even having some kind of sales process to follow at the end. And you want to follow that and train that until it feels effortlessly. So today, what I really want to do is kind of invite you to kind of put down on paper, right? And take a piece of paper, take a notepad, whatever it is, and write down, where am I actually stuck, right? Not where you want to work on, not what seems fun to work on, not what seems cool to be doing, but where are you actually stuck in your life, in your business? If you can kind of get a focus on what you can see as that one main thing that you need to focus on, then the next 7 days, just work on that one thing. Block out some time like we talked about yesterday, 90-minute blocks in the morning, and really start to focus on that. And that's really kind of how the new Academy Kings program is working. Like, we want to show you what your biggest problem is, and then from there, how do we fix that problem, and how do we move on to new problems as they arise? There's always going to be problems when we have a business, but what I want to do is be able to set these problems up in the right way, so when we knock one domino down, it knocks a whole bunch of dominoes down with it. So, obviously, go ahead, take the time, write down what your biggest problem is right now. What is the thing holding you back the most? What is that one domino that if you knock over is going to start to knock over a bunch of other dominoes in your business? The whole idea is like leverage, right? So if I can use one thing that's going to be a big leverage point for my business and I can really focus in on that, I'm going to be much more successful in the things that I'm doing. I'm not going to be running around putting out fires. So as always, just remember, you are closer than you think to the Academy of your dreams. So go ahead, do the exercise today, take a piece of paper, write down what is the one thing that's holding you back in your business, in your life, and start to address that. Hope that helps. Hope you follow on us, and more videos to come. Check it out.